So what's up?
You know, I'm not gonna do the same gag as I did last time. I'm sorry.
I
I
don't
just
remember.
can't.
What do you remember? What you did last time?
I did. I just started laughing like I was the fucking Joker, baby. Cause I was hyping it up in my head how much I really wanted to like be asked like, so what's up, for so long that like I just turned into the Joker just
Yeah,
spontaneously, just
you
for fun.
Jokerfied, fully
Yeah, yeah.
Jokerfied and loving it.
Yeah. What's up? It's fucking hot. It's already getting into like the 20 degrees over here, which in American is I don't know and I don't care. But
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
but
Hold on, I'll run a quick conversion real quick.
yeah. But yesterday I
Yeah,
had
it's six, yeah, it's getting up there for me too.
yeah. I just had the most god awful allergic reaction to pollen yesterday. I was sneezing like machine gun sneezing like
Yeah.
multiple times every like few minutes or so, and that sucked because I wanted to get things done, but even though I could still walk around, even though I had energy, I just spent my entire day just laying in bed.
All you can do is fucking sneeze.
Yeah, that's all I was able to do, and so I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to go to sleep and just like dream of a world where pollen doesn't exist
And you can't even
without any
fucking sleep because you're
repercussions.
just sneezing.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was that bad. It was that bad. Where I would be asleep, fully like ready to like just conk out, and just nothing, just nothing. And then, it actually ended up me. I actually ended up solving my problems in a really funny way, which was I filled up my bathtub full of water and then just dunked my head in the water and pseudo tortured myself so that
Yeah, that'll get rid of the pollen for sure.
yeah, because it's just like it just got stuck up my giant nose and just like would not leave, and so I was just like, you know what, I'm either gonna
Sometimes you just gotta do some fucking lines of water to clear out your schnoz.
sometimes you gotta do war crimes to yourself and pseudo do waterboarding to yourself in order to get the pollen out.
I mean, I don't think that's like pseudo waterboarding. That's like many steps removed from waterboarding.
True. Although before I had filled up the water of the bathtub.
Before you did that, you very much were lying on your back with a washcloth on your face and dripping water on it.
Oh my god! How did you know? How did explain? Were you possessing me at the time?
Yeah, I was possessoring you.
Oh,
Fucking, this is a complete tangent, but did you know that the my favorite anime in the world, a place further than the universe, the very first episode of that opens with the protagonist being accidentally waterboarded by her mother.
no, I did not know this. I did.
Like the girl like falls asleep with a t-shirt over her face or something, and then her mom comes in and just like drips water on her, and she just like jolts awake 'cause she can't breathe. She gets waterboarded by her mother in the very first opening minutes of that show.
Holy crap! Like, and I assume that this was like a gritty, realistic, like dark show,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
very much so, very much so.
unbelievable. You get
Yeah,
a
the place further than the universe that they go to is hell.
oh great. So it's a Doom tie-in.
Yeah.
Sweet. What's up with you?
I got my hair dyed. Did you see the pictures?
I have not. Oh no,
Check my Twitter. Check my Twitter.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
React to this shit in real time. Feed my ego.
Live react. All right. Oh hell yeah.
Right.
Hell fucking yeah. That is an incredible shade. And I'm not even going to say what color it is because I think that everyone who's listening to this now, if there are people listening to this, if this is left in, should go see this because holy crap.
It's fucking good as hell. That's what I've been up to. I've also been you know what? No, I was in finals hell.
Yeah.
But also, on Wednesday, I hit 2 weeks since my second vaccine, which meant that I was clear to hang out with a friend for the first time in a year and a half. And I gotta say, I feel like I'm sounding a bit ungrateful about this when I say that like I've gotten to see my family a lot over this past year and a half, but I've also had to see my family a lot over the last year and a half.
Right.
Like And it's really nice to, for once, I genuinely had forgotten what it was like to be in the presence of people whose company I chose to be in, as opposed to the company of people, as opposed to being in the presence of family.
Yeah. Did you ever have an experience when you were hanging out with your friend where you felt like you were relearning how to be around other people?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that a lot, and I'm someone who has hung out with friends maybe like twice over the course of the
Yeah.
last year. Like
Yeah,
in person.
I actually did go on like a socially distanced walk with this person back in like November, but aside from that, it's been all family all the time.
Yeah, but even for me, even for like the limited exposure that I've had, like it did feel like at a time where like I've for once in my life had to live with uncomfortable silence, just because like everyone present was relearning how to be a human being, not online, which is wild to think about, because I'm always
Scatman John voice. I want to be a human being, not a human posting.
Right.
I couldn't keep that pace up if I tried.
I mean, yeah,
that's what everyone comes to this podcast for, right? Like deep scat, like not only am I not referencing the one Scatman John song that most people know, like I'd say a fair amount of people, like most people would know scat, like I'm the Scatman, but also a fair amount of people would know Scatman's World. I don't think a fair amount of them would know like the verse to Scatman's World.
I remember learning about Scatman John on Wonderful, which is one of the few good McElroy podcasts, and just like
I should listen to that.
How positive the song "I'm the Scatman" is.
It is. Like I John Larkin. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna get a bit into this because John Larkin was like a fucking obsession of mine when I was like 14 or 15. I had 4 of his CDs, including 2 that were only ever pressed in Japan.
Wow.
Like, I fucking love Scatman John. Like, Scatman John is genuinely just seemed like a really fucking nice guy. Like, the entire thing about, the Scatman song is, like, about how he had a huge fucking stutter as a kid, and he managed to, like, hammer that into the high-quality scatting that we hear on all of his songs. And I just think that's really, really cool. And also, I like his mustache.
And there's the message of the song, I think, is, like, the core of it is that, like, he is scatting. He, like turned this, what some people would call a hindrance, into a gift, and still like, at the center of that song,
like, everybody stutters one way or the other. So check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, don't let nothing hold you back. If the Scatman can do it, brother, so can you. Like. He's not wrong.
Yeah. Even at the center of like this song about like his triumph, he's still like inviting other people to triumph along with him.
Exactly. All right, we should get into the podcast. This will be like the 3rd episode in a row I've just spent the opening 10 minutes talking about something before we get into the title credits. So let's say that the music goes here. And now I say, welcome to Fear Baiting, everyone. It's your number 1 forced kinning podcast. I'm Sarah, and I'm joined by returning guest, John. Did I seem right?
Hello.
Okay. What, did forced kinning really get you?
It did. I saw it coming, and it still wiped me out like a runaway train just barreled into me.
Yeah, John returning. John last featured on our Blood Quantum episode, yes?
Yes, episode 187. Never forget.
Oh, hell yeah. Honestly, like that's a really short refractory period for someone to come back on this podcast. I don't know what like the I wonder what like the record is for someone to have come back on this pod after a guest spot.
It's so funny it's so funny you mentioned that because I actually when I signed up on the sheet again, I was like, ooh, it's been a little while. But then I saw that like on the sheet, someone had actually been a guest twice within 5 months, and so it's been 6 months since then. So now I don't feel so bad.
Exactly.
I'm okay with being second most anxious to be on this podcast and second most eager.
We fucking the last episode we did was I love doing that episode. And also, I'm just gonna pitch you on this now. Why don't you come on Schlocktober this year, huh?
Oh my goodness, I would be so honored and so thankful, and
yeah.
and yeah, I think that like that would be a 100% great thing to be a part of, because I love the schlock. We've watched two. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we've seen two movies where people were actually trying on these movies, and but like I also love garbage.
I mean that's what Schlocktober is all about, baby. We love the trash.
We love it.
We don't have trash today. Similarly to last time when Jeff Barnaby fed us a very delectable meal of blood quantum. This week, Brandon Cronenberg has given us a delectable transgender narrative. The thing is that, like, I was talking to Blair about this before we started recording, and I just asked him the question, like, why is it that every horror movie that I've seen that is incidentally a trans narrative has been so much more impactful on me than the actual like stories about and by trans people? Like, I'm not trying to denigrate like stories written by, about, and for trans people, in any way, but like I feel so much more about this movie, and Under the Skin is the other one I was referencing, also exceptionally trans narrative on that one. Like, I just feel so strongly about this. And Blair's response was, I think that it's... hold on, let me see if I can get the exact quote from him.
Blessed words from Blessed Blair.
Blessed word from Blessed Blair. I think, like, the self is better recognized in metaphor than representation, which is so true.
Yeah, and I think that, because there's politics of representation existent in Blood Quantum as well, but because... Blood Quantum works because at the heart of that representation is this metaphor about surviving genocide, surviving a plague.
It is both metaphorical and representational. Like, it is both style and substance to look at that. Like, and obviously, like, because Jeff Barnaby and most of the people involved were like Native people, like the it's not the people like just trotting out like, oh, we put gay in our show. Do you love it? And it's just like a bunch of straight writers. Like, it is lived experiences. But what's interesting is that I feel like so often like horror directors. I mean, I say so often. I literally only have 2 weeks. I literally only have 2 examples for this. Like so often though, like. I feel like this is almost like stumbled upon. Like I'm giving Brandon Cronenberg like an honorary trans title for this one.
Right, and I kind of I had this feeling about that movie rewatching it again for this episode, and I was thinking to myself, should I bring this up? Should I ask Sarah what she thinks of it? And I thought, well, no, I think like it's really not my place as someone who doesn't consider themselves trans. I wanted to put that ball in your court because, like, that's really for you to connect to. And I
mean, even if we set aside the part where like we see Andrea Riseborough. I don't actually how to pronounce that. I keep wanting to go at it like Risenborough, but there's no N. Riseborough. I'll just say that. Yeah. When we like, even setting aside that shot where we like see her and then see a fat cock between her legs, which. I'm not complaining. I love to see that shit. But like even setting that aside, this movie is so like This movie is so genders.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing about. I think that's why some of these movies that are not explicitly trans narratives become so captivating for people who are trans, is that because like the trans experience is in some ways inexplicable. It's inexplicable to people who live outside that experience, but it's also like gender, like realizing how nebulous gender is, fucks everybody up. You
It
know,
does.
and so you're kind of like, I'm trying to put the pieces together while the ship is sinking, and there's a ticking time bomb. It's like you're trying to construct yourself, your history,
Right.
try and fit in
You
all the
are
parts of you, and then it's just
you are
like,
not only building the track in front of you as the train goes, you're also like building all of the track behind it, and you're also like maintaining the train, and you're just like you're doing so many. Oh God. Ah.
yeah.
God, fuck this movie. Fuck, God damn it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be saying just a lot of expletives because God, this was a good fucking movie.
Yeah, for sure. Like I put this movie on the list of movies that I wanted to see because I had plans to see it. Going back for as long as since I've known about the movie, and knowing that like the movie delivered on the cerebral stuff as well as the metaphorical stuff, like is so satisfying.
Oh God, yeah. The effect, the gore in this movie. Oh my God,
Oh
on a
yeah.
completely different angle. Oh, sorry. Okay, we should actually talk about the movie instead of just me just going about the movie for a fucking hour. So so the first thing that happens in this movie is that there are like 50 production titles, and I love when I see that because that means that like I get the same vibe from the only two movies I can think of that have that, like the barrage of like 10 production studio titles, is this and The Witch. And
Yeah.
I know that The Witch was like kickstarted, I believe, or crowdfunded to some extent, which is why there are all those producer titles in there. And so I just get like a strong vibe, a good vibe for some reason whenever I see all those titles. But at the same time, like I say that, but I'm sure that like out there somewhere is like some crowdfunded movie called like Triggered, and it's like got 50 title credits in the front because it was also crowdfunded.
Right. Yeah, I definitely, it's a great signifier of like a movie that came together with a lot of hands, and like sure, the director Brandon Cronenberg is son of David Cronenberg, and his sister is Caitlin Cronenberg, and there's a lot of like. You can be very cynical about a movie directed by a director's son, like not to name names or anything, but like the track record isn't great. But this
Right.
movie,
Well,
but
I
yeah,
mean, like, I mean, to be fair, I think Max Landis will always be a better director than his father because Max Landis did not kill two children in a terrible stunt.
yeah, we can at least give. We don't have to hand it to him, but there is that.
He did not. He did not kill three people due to his incompetence.
Right, and really, it's the incompetence in other areas that is why he's such a fail son. But Brandon Cronenberg, this movie coming out and it being as put together as well as it is, you look at the production labels before the movie starts, and you're like, okay, a lot of people had faith in this movie.
I just realized that Brandon Cronenberg. I thought this was Brandon Cronenberg's debut feature film, but he actually done one back in 2012 called Antiviral, which I have not myself seen, but like one of the people whose opinions I respect most listed as one of his favorite movies of all time. So that's going to be a future episode. So Brandon, you're coming back on this one, Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're gonna hold Brandon Cronenberg's feet to the fire in the sense that like we're not gonna just sort of expect him to coast by on his name. He's gonna have to deliver really interesting narratives and really interesting pieces. And for this one, what seems to be his sophomore film debut, what a picture. So
No slump detected.
yeah. So after the credits, we enter a scene with our
Holly Bergman.
yes, Holly, and played by Gabriel Graham. Holly Bergman is she is she staring? Is she looking in the mirror? I was trying to count how many.
we see her like looking in a mirror and like parting her cornrows a little bit to like get at something and like put she like just stabs a needle in there and like does the like tunes her frequency a little bit, like plays a Batman Arkham Asylum minigame. I know I made that joke last week and I apologize for repeating it, but it's just in my head. And then she pops it out and seems a little bit distraught, but someone calls her and is like, all right, let's get going. And so she joins up with the rest of them. What exactly are they? Do they say what they are? Like the group of girls, like they're dressed similarly. So like my first instinct was like they're like a cheerleading team or something. Like they're on the sidelines for the fucking Cowboys or some shit.
Yeah, they're dressed in athleisure, very much like tracksuit vibes going on. But the occasion that they're going to is like a sort of like a party almost. Maybe it's like an indoor like party in like a hotel room or whatever, or hotel space. And yeah, Holly, she has this shoulder bag. Is it like one of those like shopping bags, or is it like an actual proper like handbag? I can't remember.
I think she's got a handbag, but I don't quote me on that.
Yeah, she walks up to this dude, this very knockoff John Goodman looking guy, and just
he does look like bargain bin John Goodman.
Yeah, I hate to put that man on blast, but come on, and just absolutely blast this man with a knife. Does she pull it out of the bag, or did she? I think she pulls it out of the bag, but like she cuts into his throat like one would a fine Salisbury steak, and then just stabs him like 80 times. Absolutely.
And then, covered in blood, Holly stands up and pulls a gun out of her bag, puts it in her mouth, and says, "Pull me out." She tries to shoot herself, but she can't. Then a bunch of cops roll up. She turns the gun on them, and then the cops just explode her with bullets.
Yeah, and there's also this incredibly weird and kind of like out of place scene where, after she gets dropped by the cops,
yes,
Holly Bergman, by the way, is a Black Canadian. She's played by Gabrielle Graham, who's a Canadian actress who's Black. One of the officers walks up to her and shoots her in the face.
This fucking after the bell rings shot of like we just see her on the floor. And then like from like the it's hard to explain, but like if someone were like shoot through your cheek. Like, and it came like if someone just like shot clean through your cheek fat, like that's what it would look like.
Yeah, and like a fountain of blood just falls right out of just spurts out of her face, and
then we hard cut to some medical facility somewhere where our protagonist Tazia Voss is like waking up and is very freaked out, and then we get our late title card drop, and it fucking rules. I love like the ugly mustard yellow shade that they use for this movie.
Yes, absolutely. It definitely speaks to like the kind of like sickly psychic nature. It's like some of the best scenes in Beyond the Black Rainbow play with light in that way, and it's just a flood of colored light. Very, very cool, very, very awesome. And I think like the medical room that she awakens in is kind of like this like black darkened room with like a massage bed in it, and she's got like this like helmet on. She sits up and she vomits because she's just like so distraught from the abrupt disconnection. And then there's that title drop, and it's just we are in the middle of it. There are no short. There are no long. There are no there's no roundabout really. I love how this movie just moves from scene to scene in a completely efficient way, but without sacrificing the artistry of like how some scenes scenes can be shot.
This movie is like impeccably put together. The Matthew Hannum, I'm just shouting out the editor. Good shit, editor. Good shit, Matthew Hannum.
Absolutely. Anybody who is also a fan of other Toronto-based films, there's the film Enemy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. That movie also has like lots of like very similar shots to this one. So if you were a fan of Enemy, please check out.
Is that the one with the giant fucked up spider at the very end?
Yes, and that's not a spoiler because it really does. That really is just kind of at the end of the movie.
Just for no real reason, huh?
Yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I watched it because I was a Jake Gyllenhaal completionist, and it was all right. But what happens to Voss after she wakes up? After the title cut, we get a sort of interrogation scene, kind of like
Like a detox, not detox,
a debrief.
Yeah, I get it's like the exact opposite of those scenes in the Marvel movies where they're reading a book of words to Bungie, where they're like red 17 home.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Now,
yeah.
I if you don't have an answer, this is a weird question. So if you don't have an answer to it off the top of your head, that's fine. But if you were Captain America, Bungie, Winter Soldier, what is your activation like phrases? Like a set of like 10 or so words that like turns you into the hyper efficient killing machine, the Winter Soldier. Because for me, I've mentioned, but for me, it's definitely all of the English words in Golden Time Lover, the third Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like you walk up to me and you say Golden Time, pressure game, borderline, poker face, and I'm just like, who do I kill?
Well, I'll tell you, the last time I heard a set of words that made me want to enact violence was a butter pussy. So I'm gonna blame it on you. I'm gonna say that you're the reason why I got Jokerfied, and why I turned into the best killing machine this side of the Mason-Dixon line.
I forgot that I said that one.
Yeah, I wish I could forget. But here we are.
All I do is log on and inflict psychic damage to all of my listeners.
That's true, but we love you for it.
Aw, shucks. So yeah, we find out a couple of things about Voss. She like we tell her that we find out that she's just like, oh yeah, this is a pipe from my grandpa. He died before I was born. This is a butterfly that I killed and pinned and boxed up when I was a kid. I still feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
And then we see we hear Voss be like, hey, I think I need a vacation. I've been talking to Michael, and her handler Gerder is like, you and Michael have been separated for a while, and she's like, well, I've been talking to him still. I've been talking with him.
Yeah. By the way, Voss's boss, which is a great term, Gerder. She's played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. Gerder looks exactly like the boss that fired me from my last full-time job. So I was very much not on her side the first time I saw her, but she's she's kind of got like this cold, kind of like very quiet-ish personality. She says things like I can't afford to lose you. Make sure that there's no like that your mind's okay and blah blah blah. And like you're our prime asset. You know, she's very much
right.
she's very much buttering up Voss.
Yeah, and we also it's also like explicated to us the audience that Voss is very little more than like. I wonder if it means anything that Voss is being very actively chewed up and spit out by the system that she is putting herself into to work, and the system is just like, yeah, you're our best asset. We need you at peak performance. Wonder if it means anything.
Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, so we cut to Voss standing at the very end of a row of it's a very peculiar kind of like street. It's like a cul-de-sac, but it's like a street made up of all driveways. It's very strange looking. But we cut to Voss. She's looking down this street. She's standing at the end of the street, looking at this house, which we presume is to be like her house that she shares with Michael and her son. What's her son's name? Ira,
yeah.
Yeah, and she's like practicing being a human being. Like
it's the thing is that when I say that this movie is extremely trans, like this is one of the things that I'm talking about. Like I have on so many occasions just like before I go into like a store, before I get in line, before I like go do a thing, I've just like practiced intonations of like, oh hi, how are you doing? Like practicing my attempts at girl voice or whatever the hell it is that I'm doing the voice.
Yeah, and you're vaping,
it's
and you're like, practicing these phrases that
practicing these
will.
phrases, these mannerisms. Like it's
Yeah.
a very, it's a very like doing trans kind of scene.
Yeah, very much so, because because like Voss, is being, as we've mentioned, like being chewed up by this process where she possesses these people and then uses their bodies to do harm. Very much kind of messed up, and so we she actually does manage to, she goes up to the house, she knocks on the door, she is greeted by Michael and Ira, and she comes inside, and she even uses the phrases, like almost the exact phrases that she was practicing.
Yep.
Yeah, and those are her like stepping stones onto the path that will lead her into being like mom again, basically.
Yeah. I feel like I am mom again. Mom again.
Yeah.
So she has sex with Michael, right?
Oh,
Well, she has.
we have to bring up something more important than sex, which is the absolutely terrifying doll that Ira pulls out. And
Oh, I forgot about the doll. I got so distracted by the fact that you can see an Among Us helmet in the next scene that I completely forgot about the doll.
Okay, true. There is a very sus looking helmet in the next scene, but before that, we see Brahms, the boy Brahms needs to roll over, because this doll that this little boy Ira makes dance by using the power of STEM technology is the most terrifying goddamn thing I have ever seen in my life. It's a doll that looks like a fucked up, like, take a head of one of those dancing Santas with the saxophone, and then replace its head with a too large, like, Chucky head with just
This
most.
doll looks indescribably racist.
Yeah, with just the most ratty hair that you've ever seen, and no
Right.
neck, and it does this dance which looks like no dance I have ever seen a human being perform, and Ira says, do you want me to make him dance? And then we see the bat dance, and then,
Oh, that just clicked for my head. Like the fucking the puppeteering. Like it's
yeah.
like it's the movie. It's the movie. It's a microcosm. Do you want to see him dance? And then that's what she does. That's what her job is.
Very
she makes
much
people
so.
dance.
And in the same way that like the head of the body is so distorted, and we'll get to distorted heads in a bit.
I feel like we should also explain what exactly her job is, because we have not explicated it. I feel like at this point, which is that her job is to body jack other people and use those bodies to perform assassinations and then kill the body to get out of the body.
Yes, very much so. And we get a little bit more information about how that happens later. But before that, we do have to return to the very sus space helmet and the sex scene.
She puts her baby boy to bed and then goes to fuck her husband Michael. But all she can think about during that thing is the knife piercing the neck flesh of the lawyer who she killed at the start of the movie, and at like one point after the sex, she like wakes up and walks down the hallway, and like Michael is like, oh, I fucking hate this relationship. This is not poggers at all, and I fucking hate this. And then he starts bleeding out from his neck, and it becomes clear that it's a dream. But she's very fucked up about it.
Yeah, he specifically uses the words, "I want you to move back in. I hate this," like referring to referring to a number of things, but you get the impression that he's referring specifically to her work, which evidently he's not really in. Which will become evident later. He's not really in on. He's not really privy to like what she does. And we learn about that in a really big way. And when she does step out of the room, what prompts him to say, "I hate this and I want you to move back in with us," is she immediately makes a call back to her boss, and she says, "I'm ready to do the job. Let's do it. Call me back." And so it really is this situation where she is being given this framing of like having to live between two lives, her work and her family, and
Right.
you know,
But when it
and
comes time to shit or get off the pot with her family, she's just immediately, I'm gonna go dive back into work. Bye.
exactly, and that's you know definitely related to some of those bigger themes that we alluded to that may or may not exist. And so after they have the scene where her husband, she hallucinates her husband bleeding from the neck, we cut to Voss sort of being prepped for being briefed on the mission that will take up the sort of kicks off like the second
Yep.
act.
We get Sean Bean. Sean Bean is John Parks. His daughter Ava. They both need to die. And the body jacker, the possessee, will be one Colin Tate, who looked staggeringly like Kit Harington. I have to say, I kept being like, is that Kit Harington? And I looked up the actor Christopher Abbott a handful of times, and he's been in other movies that I loved. Like he was, It Comes at Night, which was a fucking phenomenal movie.
Banger, real banger.
God, I think about the ending, the last shot of that movie. I think about that a lot.
Yeah, and he was also in Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, which I heard made a lot of buzz like at some point in the 2010s. He was in Girls, which sucks because Girls is terrible. But he was also in he plays John Yossarian in Catch 22.
Yeah, my boy Yossarian.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Kit Harington Jon Snow?
Yeah, Jon Snow.
Yeah. They have that same kind of like beady eyes and like the eyebrows.
Yeah, that's what it
kind of
is.
look. Yeah.
That's what it is.
But yeah, Colin Tate is the one who's gonna be the one to take out Ava and her dad, and basically they're gonna be setting it up so that Ava's stepbrother is gonna be the one who inherits the company that John Parse runs. What's it called? Like Zello or something? It's something really strange, like with a Z. Or
I didn't make note of it, honestly. They only say it like once or twice.
But we do very crucially learn about what the company does, which is it works as a data mining company, and which is really important because this company that Voss works for, their entire thing is like espionage. They get intel on people, they track people, they learn things about people. So once this company owns part of that company that John Parse runs, they'll have access to all of this data and this information that they can use to then later do bad shit.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we after Voss jumps into the body, of Colin, we see him doing his job at this place, and it just seems like fucking like. Do you remember those stories that were coming out 2-3 years ago about the Facebook employees who were forced to monitor, whose like jobs were to monitor like obscene content, and they just like saw a bunch of like brutally violent shit day in day out?
Yeah. I that's the first thing that I thought of when I saw this movie for the first time, was just because Colin Tate, the reason why he the reason how he knows Ava is that he was originally like her drug dealer or whatever, and then they fell in love. And Colin is very much like this like unstable part of Ava's life, so that's why they targeted him to be the one to kill John and Ava. But Colin works at the company that they're trying to take over because he's being given a job by Ava's dad. And that will become a major.
It's just a job. It's just a job working in the mines, and working in the mines is like this harrowing thing of like you put on these fucking VR looking goggles, and you get like in the VR space. There's like in the virtual interface there is like a computer, and on that computer is being displayed the whatever footage you're supposed to be looking at, and it is like so many levels of abstraction through which Voss is experiencing this. Like Voss, through the eyes of Tate, through the eyes of this VR machine, through the monitor of this, through a camera feed of someone else's home. And I just think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, for anybody who wants to take a look at the real life world of content moderators, there's a documentary called The Moderators by Adrian Chen and Kieran Cassidy. It's on the fieldofvision.org website. It's a documentary that talks about specifically folks who try and do content monitoring in India for Facebook, and some of the shit that they see is just awful. But and we get glimpses of that as well. We see like glimpses into people's homes. We actually see a couple having sex as well. And Colin Tate's job is to look through these VR glasses and to look at through all these like different camera feeds to identify blinds, which is yet another abstraction on vision, because it's like the idea of like blinds being things like our way of controlling what other people see of our insides.
Oh
So,
fuck! Oh fuck! God, and also the other way where it's just like the viewing has to be like restricted to just the blinds. Like this comes to a head at the most when like there's like a scene of like, well, first of all, you see cock. You see the first of two cocks you see in this movie. You see someone's dick out, and Tate Voss gets caught up like watching this happen, and then someone's voice chimes in and is like, Tate, you're not doing a very good job. Hurry up and work faster. What do you see in the blind? Stop looking at the sex. And he's like, oh, sorry, ma'am. Sorry. And at which point he just kind of like ducks out and is like, oh, fuck, I gotta fucking go to the bathroom.
yeah, it is one of those things where, not only can that's a real literal who watches the Watchmen moment, because like the fact is that like, yes, there's this panopticon of surveillance that like creeps just below the surface of the narrative of the movie, and it's like, yes, there are people in the panopticon, but there are also people watching the panopticon. Like,
Right.
it's fucked up. Like, there's a lot of layers to this. So yeah, he goes into the bathroom and he's having a fit, and he's just like, you know what, he communicates actually to Girder through the implant that's in his brain. It's actually like a two-way communicator as well. And there's this like, sort of like bit where Voss is talking to Girder and saying like, I'm adapting, whatever, and there's this real tension of like definitely feeling like an outsider, and you kind of get this feeling that like Ava's really not in control of Tate at all, and we also get that as well because flashing back to when Ava was told about Colin, Voss is spying on Colin and trying to pick up on some of his mannerisms.
Another genders thing.
And it gets even better because when the first night that Colin wakes up with Voss inside him, they have he has a conversation with Ava, and Ava ends the conversation by saying, "You've gone strange on me." And it's just like that's a real moment of like, wow, you are different now than when you were when we went to bed,
Your vibes are completely fucked, bro.
Yeah. And so what happens after the bathroom scene with Colin?
Let me check my notes. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Doing the Oh, right. This is there's like been some ephemera floating around Colin, Voss Colin. Sorry that these names are confusing, but I think just to be clear from now on, when God, this is so hard. I will just call him Tate Voss and then Tate, because there's a point later on when Tate is in control. So Tate Voss is experiencing like some like it looks like a glitch, an artifact, like just like floating in the air.
Yeah.
And Tate Voss calls back to her boss and is like, "Hey, I'm doing great. Not seeing any artifacts. No, ma'am. Not seeing a single damn thing of it." And then Tate Voss goes home and sees Ava and does some lines with the girls, right?
Yeah. There's a scene where we meet some of Ava's like other friends, and there's like a kind of weird sort of clandestine relationship happening between Colin and one of them.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they don't say it outright, but I think it's implied that like they fooled around at a party once or something.
yeah, yeah. It's very kind of like layers upon layers of deception. And there's a scene where I was really it was really funny that one of the friends brags about jerking off in front of her camera so that the company that Colin works for knows what brand of vibrator she likes. And I thought that was
Good
just,
line.
it definitely reminds me of like some people who are like, like, oh, I have nothing to hide from surveillance or from big government, so let them look through my camera. I hope they like
Yeah.
what they see or whatever. And it's just like, I don't think that's how it works, but okay.
Watch me pop this pussy, FBI. everyone who is responsible for monitoring my activity through my webcam does have a mug that says female body inspector on it.
We're also attention starved during this pandemic, so whatever we can get, right?
Yeah, honestly, like FBI man, whoever is responsible for watching me, like FBI dude, if you've been like cranking it to me, like I feel violated, but I also feel kind of like honored. So like, let me know. Come on, it'll cancel out in the wash.
A text from FBI. You up?
A text from FBI. Can you bend over just a little bit further? I can't see your hole from this angle. Text from FBI. Post hole.
Oh God. Anyway.
Where were we? Right. So they do lines of the. Oh yeah, this is the sex scene between Tate Voss and Ava, and it is like there's a scene where like we see Tate like thrusting on top of Ava, but then like the camera cuts away and it cuts back, and then all of a sudden it's Voss's head and body, but then the camera pans down and there is still a cock between Voss's legs.
Yeah.
And it's good. I appreciate this movie's commitment to showing me girl dick.
Yeah, it's weird because like you saw Ghost Watch was the last episode that was released as of recording. And there's a really shitty part where they talk about like how a ghost transes someone's gender, and I forgot that existed, and that was a real bummer to remember that happened. But like it's weird because you would think that like in a movie like this where Ava is seen with having a penis between her legs, it's like it's kind of for shock. You would if in a cynical movie, like, in a worse movie,
yeah.
you would be right in saying that was for shock and for nothing else. But it's so closely tied to like the idea of that, like this movie is a character study of someone becoming like separated from themselves and dehumanized within themselves.
Yes.
That like you're like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm smiling and nodding at this. And also, like I'm gonna say, it's a pretty nice looking cock.
Absolutely. Sorry, I had to take a drink.
Andrea Risborough is packing some schmeat. Let's see. Where did we leave off? What's next? Let's see. Oh, hey, there's cock in this movie. That's my last note. Oh yeah, okay. Then we jump forward to the next day when there's like a party happening at Ava's father, the hit target, John Pars's house, right?
Yeah.
And it's Sean Bean, everyone's favorite Sean Bean, who somehow survives this. Against all odds, he survives this movie.
Yeah. The hit goes pretty much kind of like this. So Colin, Ava calls Girder on the web phone. And says
Voss calls Girder.
Sorry. Voss calls Girder and says, "Yo, I'm in. Colonel, what's the mission?" And Girder says, "You have to appear. Basically like as unstable as possible and make a public scene, and then do the job."
Right. So the way that this manifests is that like, Voss as Tate like rolls up and is drunk as shit, rolls up to Pars with Ava, and Pars is a very bad dad. Like not just shitty to Colin, but also shitty to his daughter because he's like, you like he at one point he basically says that like you walking up to me with this piece of shit on your arm shows that I have failed as a parent and there's nothing I can do to help you.
Yeah.
And but very visibly, at least acting drunk, Tate Voss rolls up and is like, "You fucking piece of shit! You never respect me. You are mean to me, and you never appreciate anything that I do. Fuck you!" And then he gets thrown out. And then we jump a little bit later to just John and Ava having a little drink together, where Ava's like apologizing on behalf of Colin. And then she like goes to the bathroom or something, and Tate Voss rolls up with a gun, and is like, "All right, I'm gonna fucking kill you now," and beats the shit out of Sean Bean with is it a fire poker?
Yeah, it's very much a fire poker, and at this point, John Parse is completely alone with Ava, and then when Ava goes to the bathroom, it's just this is like after the party.
Yeah, this is after the party.
Yeah, Tate Voss shows up and just
this is the hotel lobby.
Yeah, absolutely fucking wangs Shanban in the fucking head with the. With the fire poker.
I'm sorry. He does get wanged. He gets wanged to shit.
A lot of people get wanged in this movie, but Sean Bean takes it right to the head.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, and we actually get a scene as John Parse is like struggling on the ground covering up. Voss Tate just jams the fire poker into the
eye socket and just like
into his mouth, into his mouth actually.
Oh yeah, and then it pops the eyeball out, right?
Yeah, it's really fucking gnarly. And like you can hear like the gurgling sounds of John Parse as he struggles to like stop Tate from making him deep throat this fire poker.
Yeah.
It really is nasty. And you think like, oh yeah, chalk up another one on the Shanban death
corpse
count
list.
Yeah,
because then Ava walks in and is like, oh fuck, oh my god. And then Tate Voss like plugs her in the back with a couple of gunshots.
Yeah.
It doesn't finish the job though, and so he follows her out to the hallway where she is like crawling and like struggling to get past. And he just like we get this really nice wide shot of him standing over her, of Tate Voss standing over Ava with the gun and just pow right in the kisser.
And the scene plays out dead silent. Like there's like aside from like the intermittent sounds of like the hallway and stuff like. Mm-hmm. It's a very minimal soundtrack during the scene. And so yeah, Ava's done. She's been shot in the head, and John Parse is just laying on the floor, just like bleeding out. It's at this point where Tate Voss tries to take control of the body and make her kill herself. Yeah.
But she can't pull the trigger with the gun in her mouth for whatever reason. And then like the body like rebels against her and stabs it in the brain, like severely damaging the connection between Voss, who is like currently comatose in the animus, and Tate. But like with Voss on the other end of that connection, like Voss does not return to the animus. Voss is very much still inside that brain spot.
Yeah, it's a very much a kind of limbo that she exists in psychically. Really, yeah. in a way, it's kind of like when the implant is destroyed, it's kind of like a brain web, kind of like it's like implants and there's like this like lace that goes over the brain.
Uh-huh.
It's like the web like traps Voss inside Tate's subconscious, and so Tate is like pretty panicky. It's like him pretty much fully taken over at this point. He's walking down the street covered in blood. And if that ain't white privilege, I don't know what is, really. Because, like, he's walking by tons of people wearing a suit and looking very visibly distraught with, like, blood covering his chest. And nobody even asks him, hey, dude, what's up? Why you have blood in your chest? Yeah, you good? You know, and then he's being tailed by the agency because they realize that things have gone bad. And in the midst of Tate sort of like regaining control, there are visions that flash by, and we actually see a vision of John Parse, who survived the attack.
Yes, he made it out.
Yeah, and he's in a wheelchair and he looks fucked up, but he's alive, and so.
Yep.
You know, very much in a position where like the job's unfinished. So Tate goes to Rita's house.
Yeah, friend Rita, the girl he was like, the girl who he was like wink wink nodding at earlier.
Yeah,
and he's like very distraught, and this is absolutely incredible performance from this guy here. This fucking like really like everyone in this movie is like on their A game, but like anytime someone has to pull like multiple duty of like playing a character and then playing a character with someone else playing this like anytime someone plays multiple characters in a movie, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like and I think Christopher Abbott does a fucking phenomenal job of that in this.
Very much so. I was very much impressed by his performance, and it was one of those performances where you know, having like the idea of like another personality inside you, like it can get really fucking problematic really quickly.
Yeah.
But they don't go there. It's like it's played straight. Like, you know, Tate is somebody who's suffering in silence right now because he knows like that was him who did the thing with the poker. That was him that killed Ava. But he just at this point he doesn't know why.
Right.
He knows that there's something in him, but he doesn't know why.
I think that this movie does skirts a very, very difficult line to skirt, which is making a movie about this without being like offensive, like just offensively just offensively mean to like plural people and plurality as a concept.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it mainly helps that like they don't really attempt to play in that space whatsoever. Like
exactly.
I think that like I myself am not plural. But I think that like the fact that they are not trying to do that is a big step in that. But also it just feels like it is treated with a respect that it is not given in other movies. Like if that makes any sense. Like
yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't know. Like it's this is one of my favorite things to see an actor do. And to like, because I looked at like I don't know, like fucking Split, for example. That movie fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But what the fuck's his name? Who was the main guy in that?
James McAvoy.
James McAvoy. Thank you. When you tell me James McAvoy is playing like a handful of different characters, I'm like, that sounds like an interesting thing to watch just from an acting perspective. But it's always so wrapped up in that shittiness, and I appreciate this movie giving me one of my favorite things. Just I love that shit. Body swap shit. Also, I just love that shit.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those situations where the trope really does depend on the person who's using it. And so, you know, this is really a movie about possession. This is very much a movie that
it's called Possessor.
Yeah. We're in a demonic possession movie, but it's a movie about the living possessing the living. And so we can play in this space where there's multiple personalities inhabiting the same body, but we don't have to be shitty about it.
Right, exactly. This is it's good. Yeah. I like this movie a lot. Okay. So this is when shit starts getting really off the rails because Tate is like back in control kind of, but Rita goes to take a shower and suddenly Tate no longer seems to be in control. Now Voz is taken over.
Yeah.
Because she just puts a hole in Rita's head. And I think this is genuinely incredible. We don't see what this looks like. All we see like Rita showering behind like the fogged up glass in the shower.
Yeah.
And we see like They do a really cool thing where, like, we see in a reflection, we see Voz in Tate's clothes, like, with the gun trained on her, and then we hear the shot, and we do not see what happens until, like, 20 minutes later when Tate is experiencing some extreme brain problems.
Yeah, and then we do see the scene, and it's very interesting. It's very well done. I think like there are a couple of scenes in the second and third act where they do this, and there's one part very much later where it is physically Tasia Vals's head on Colin's body, and it's just like mwah, so beautifully done. Yeah, so Rita dies, and while Colin is like back in control and panicking, there's a knock at the door, and we meet again for the second time this guy named Eddie. Eddie works for Voss's company, and he's a plant. He's somebody who was scouting Colin for the job. And
Right.
so Eddie, who we first met Eddie at the beginning of Colin's shift at that job at the data mining place, and
Yeah.
so when we meet him again, Eddie's like, oh yeah, I know Rita, yeah, give me a drink, and then when Colin turns around, Eddie tases Colin in the back of the head, and then Colin wakes up and
Eddie explains all of that stuff.
yeah, and then yeah.
He's like, hey, so I've suppressed the host body. You should be fully in control now for the most part. Go ahead and knock yourself off. Here's the gun. And Voss is like, can't you fucking do it? And this line fucking got me because Eddie's like, oh no, I'm a Christian.
Oh yeah.
But then he's like, also like Girder, your handler, says that like it should only ever be the person inflicting the wound on themselves. It should never be another party because then they feel guilty. Blah 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 blah. You got to do it. Sorry, bud.
Yeah. There could be no loose ends.
Which makes me curious about that. I mean, yeah, there no loose ends, but I'm also thinking about like it's presented as though there's like a genuine logistical thing preventing someone else from pulling the trigger. Actually, no, never mind. That's nothing because the first like suicide is like suicide by cop instead of eating one's own bullet. So it has nothing to do with someone else taking the shot. Because cops have no conscience and they don't care about the fact that they killed someone. No guilt. So
for sure. And there's also this like subtle undertone of like, not only am I not going to shoot you because I'm Christian, which is a very funny line, but it also obscures this kind of negging that Eddie does to Tasia, which is that like, you fucked up. John's still alive. So
right.
So I'm not gonna cover up your mess. So go ahead and just do it yourself, because like like you've done enough. You've fucked up enough. You can at least do this to yourself. And the idea of like there's this phenomenon that happens in some corporate structures where when a business is about to fail or like come under scrutiny, some of the board executives will will appoint one of their own who's a woman to the CEO position, because if she inherits the sinking ship and the ship fails, then it's just like, oh well, the heat's taken off of the people who were actually responsible for that failure. And so Tasia is mentally in Tate's body, but Tate is so it's this scene where physically what's happening in the scene is Colin is being negged by another male figure, and it's a very interesting scene. And from that perspective, the idea that like Tate is this fuck up, and so is Voss, really.
It's good. Thematic parallels.
For sure. And
so what happens now is like one of, I think, the second best scene. I mean, the end of this movie is like fucking tremendous, but I think this scene in particular is like the real showstopper for me.
Oh yeah.
Where so Eddie like hooks Voss up to this machine and is like, okay, we're gonna try and like do some frequencies here and try and figure something out. This might be a bit of a pain in the ass, but just bear with us. And like like it's so fucking cool because it's like we get like 5 seconds of Tate laying face up on the bed, and then there's like just a cut, and like from the exact same angle, exact same everything, the room is just flooded in red light, and then it's Voss on the bed wearing the same clothing as Tate, and then we get 5 seconds of that, then snap back to the original with the same angle, snap back to Voss, and we see the door opening, snap back to the original, back with Tate, snap Voss, and then Tate is like in the red, like Tate is in the room, and like all of a sudden climbing on top of Voss and like choking her, and then like he puts his hand on her face and like crushes it, and then puts her face onto his face, and again I'm going to point and say it's genders, it's fucking genders.
Yes. Oh my god, the scene where there's this like primary color of red and yellow,
Yes.
and then they flip between the two, and it's the same shot, but it's just different people in the bed, and then the visual of Colin, like climbing on top of Ava in the bed, and like straddling her, and then turning her face into a mask that he then wears. Is if you've seen any promotional poster for the film, you have seen this face that is that which Colin is wearing, and when Colin wears this this mask, we get flashes of Colin wearing that mask in scenes that we have already seen Ava in, but with Colin there.
In the face, like we see her, like we see the shot of like Michael like fucking Voss, and we see Tate with Voss mask on, and it's so
yeah, it is so incredibly creepy, scary, but also kind of like weirdly tender and powerful, because there's like, it's like somebody is being put in somebody else's shoes, literally. And you know, the idea of masking and like what masking really means psychologically, and like there's a scene where like the idea of like pastoral scenes where Voss is pretending to be a mom to her child, and a wife to her husband, and then like there's Colin there in her place. Like this movie is genders 100,000%.
It's fucking good.
Yeah. It and it's during this scene where Colin is being, you know, given the picture book version of Ava's life, where, you know, we cut to the scene where we're back in the room. Eddie's dead. He's been out.
Eddie's fucking his head just did that.
We and then we see what happens to Rita, and you know, this is the scene
we get the shot of her like with a hole in her face where the bullet went through, like right after what would have been right after the gunshot.
Yeah, and
which we hadn't seen up until that point. I'll say again, fuck.
Yeah, and during that flip book of Ava's memories, Colin sees the house.
Yeah, that the house and Michael and Ira.
Yeah, and so our next scene is, you know, Tate standing at the very end of that that street, looking. And he walks
up to Ira and is like, "Hello, Ira. Do I know you? Oh, I don't think I do." And then Michael comes out of the house at the end of the road and is like, "Hey, Ira, get the fuck in here."
Yeah.
And then Tate rolls up on the house and is like, "Hey, I'm a friend of Voz's. Can I talk to you real quick?" And the guy's like, "She doesn't live here anymore, man. I gotta bye." And then Colin just forces his way in with the gun, and is like, he gives this fucking incredible like speech that I'm not going to attempt to replicate here. But the thing that's really sticking out to me is, are you married to her or are you married to the worm?
Yeah, and you know, that comes after Tate asks the basic questions like, "Do you know me? Do you know who I am? Where's Tasia? You know,
what did Tasia do to me?"
Yeah, and the monologue that Tate gives about the worm is something that happens and is being delivered ostensibly by somebody who we're introduced to Colin as a fuck up, as a person who doesn't have any thing to say, any value. He's just an asset to the company that's going to use him for this murder, right? And so when he says this thing about parasites and worms, it is such a, these are the most amount of words that he ever says in a row. Is this monologue, because he's very quiet, he's very in his head, he's very distraught throughout most of the movie. It's like, that's a scene that I don't think I ever see in any other kind of like exorcism or possession films, where a person who is being possessed has an extended monologue about the nature of their own possession. And so after Tate does this monologue, he he's like very much like getting ready to like threaten Michael's life if he doesn't tell him where Voss is. And then in the struggle, there's a struggle that ensues. The gun gets thrown away, gets kicked away, and instead of shooting Michael, Colin Tate just absolutely fucking destroys him with a meat cleaver.
With a meat cleaver, and it's so fucking sick.
Yeah.
And then, having taken care of that, he's like, all right, Tate Voss is like, all right, pull me out. And cannot, again, pull the trigger. And then we get a close-up of Tate's neck as a knife pierces it the exact same way that we saw the lawyer's neck get pierced with that steak knife at the start of the movie. And it turns out that Ira is standing there with a knife in his hand, having just stabbed Tate in the neck. Tate grabs the gun, and we now know that it's we can tell now that it's actually Voss in control.
Yeah.
As she blasts her child's, we get like the shot from the back of like this child's head exploding, and the gore in this, it is so delectable.
Yeah, and we get that.
Listen, now let me be clear. I hate to see children die.
Yeah,
but if it's in a movie and their heads explode like that, who am I to say if it's good or bad?
Yeah. We should also rewind just a little bit. In between the monologue and the struggle, there's a bit where Tate is standing in that living room pointing the gun at Michael, and then Voss confronts Tasia confronts Colin, and they're both wearing the same clothes and they're talking to each other, and Colin is talking to Tasia for the first time. This is the only conversation that they have is in this sort of like ghostly hallucinatory state.
Mm-hmm.
Colin says, I haven't been myself lately. And Tasia, who, bear in mind, was in control of Colin Tate's body while she was doing all these horrible things, looks at Colin and says, "Where's Ava?" She literally talks to Colin as if and gaslights him to his face while she is possessing his body.
Yes.
While she is in full control, while she is gaining full control of her body, she is actively telling the person who she is victimizing, Colin, that it's him who's in control. And and then the struggle happens, and then Michael dies, and we get this sense of feeling that like Ava kind of wants.
Voss kind of wanted this.
Yeah, that Tasia really kind of wanted Michael and Ira to die.
Right, because this is what Girder wants. This is the emotional attachment gone.
And when and in that scene where we see Ira standing after Ira has stabbed Tate, when we get the shots of like the gun firing at Ira, it's Tasia's face.
Yeah.
And she's screaming at him while she fires at him.
Right. And then as Ira and Tate are both bleeding out on the floor, Ira says, "Pull me out," and we find out that that's Girder inside there the whole time, but not before we get this fucking delectable, beautiful shot from the two of them, or them both like bleeding out to death and their blood pooling on the floor, and then like their pools of blood merge into one, and then we cut back to the Animus where Tasia and Girder are both being retrieved.
Yeah, and very crucially, we have the scene where they're both being pulled out, and then we hear their voice before we get cut to that scene, but it's the debrief again, the same exact one after the Holly Bergman killing, where she talks about the pipe that her grandpa gave, that was her grandpa's, that she received before after he died because she never met him. And then we get to the butterfly, the red butterfly that's in the frame. Mm-hmm. And, very crucially at the beginning of the movie, Tasia, I keep fucking up their names. Yeah. Voss says that she was guilty after she killed and mounted the butterfly. But
she doesn't say that this time.
She does not say that she feels guilty. And it's on a static shot of the butterfly in the frame that the movie ends.
It's a good fucking movie.
It's the movie really kind of just does whatever the fuck it wants, but like with such intention,
yes,
behind it. The movie is not afraid to show you people fucking, people having the worst days of their lives, children dying, people getting fucking stabbed and mangled. But there's such there is a narrative that is unfolding in all of that violence, which you can't really say about most horror films.
On a scale of 0 to 5,
girl masks.
What?
Can I say 0 out of 5 girl cocks?
Yeah, I'll let you say it. On a scale of 0 to 5 girl cocks, how many girl cocks are you going to give this movie?
I hate that I said that. I apologize.
No, you said it. You can't unpull that trigger, motherfucker.
I'm gonna give.
How many girl cocks are you giving this movie?
I'm gonna give it 5.
I'm also giving it 5 girl cocks. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for playing. We don't have any questions today, so John, what are you going to recommend this week on fear baiting?
What am I going to recommend? Well, I thought about it, and I have one recommendation. So there's a YouTube channel run by a filmmaker. His name is Alex Kansas, and you can search him up on YouTube by typing in the words Alex Kansas, all in caps. And as one word. He's a filmmaker from Florida, and he makes these really creepy, scary, unsettling videos that are in like this like web series, not unlike Marble Hornets, where he plays this archivist character, except the pieces of media that he is uncovering from and posting on YouTube are artifacts from a parallel dimension where James Dean becomes president. All of the national monuments are occupied by eldritch creatures. There's a computer company, a personal computer company that like is running secret experiments. There's an incredible array of short films. He does a series called The Monument Mythos, which is the eldritch beings in national monuments. And just a really fucking fantastic web series. If you love Marble Hornets, if you love like dark web series like that, do check these out, because they're like, they give you that sense of like creepiness that like documentaries give you, but also that like there's a little bit of like Cthulhu mythos in there. It's just great. It's just fantastic. Look up Alex Kansas on YouTube and The Monument Mythos.
Hell yeah. My recommendation this week is going to be another anime I've been watching this season. It's called To Your Eternity, and it's a really hard one to give a summary of, because like the start of the story is that God unleashes an orb onto the world, and the orb is designed to just gather stimulus. And when it gathers stimulus from something that dies next to it, it will become that thing. Which it starts. The first thing that it turns into is a wolf, because a wolf like dies while falling on top of it in like the Arctic North where it first lands, and then that wolf turns out to belong to a boy of like a local village, and it's this really, really... I just cannot figure out where the show is going next. It's been very sad, but it's very much about, like... Very much about learning how to exist. It's very much a show about existing as a person and, like, learning... And also a show that's a lot about death in a very, like... Not, like... Comforting isn't the right word for it, but it's, like... It's a show that's very much... Maybe comforting is the right word. Like, it is a show that's very much about death, but it's about death as like a factor of life, and not death as some nebulous, terrifying thing of the beyond. Which, I mean, it kind of is, but like I appreciate the show like taking the like looking at death as just like a facet of life, and it's also got an absolute fucking baby in it.
That's awesome. The name of that anime again is
To Your Eternity. It's on Crunchyroll.
Awesome. I will definitely check that out. That's
all right.
Yeah, it's I love when anime tackles like themes that are a little bit more out there and surreal and stuff. So yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah.
John, where can people find you? Thank you again so much for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I thank you so much for having me. And yeah, like it's just one of those things that where like I love horror movies so much, and this show is like the best like movie recommendation thing I've ever come across. And like this podcast is so good. Like the episode about Lake Mungo scared me. Like and that just doesn't happen with other podcasts about horror. So you can all find me on Twitter. Unfortunately, you can find me at Flourishcaster. There's a retweet on Fearbaiting's Twitter where Sarah added me, so find me on there. Out. Yeah, and you can also listen to my radio show, The Sound of Shadows, which airs online at cfmu.ca on Thursday nights at midnight Eastern Time.
Hell yeah. We are Fearbaiting on Twitter and Patreon. Patreon.com/Fearbaiting supports the podcast. $1 a month. If we get the episodes up early, they go up. We don't get them up all that early, all that often. So if you just want to support the podcast, that's also the great way to do it. $1 a month, $5 a month, get your name right on the podcast and a brief message if you want to send that in. $10 a month, all that stuff, and you get to make us watch a movie. So thank you very much to Ducky Aisha, Paul Moran, Kit Spindler, Michael Kaiser, and Paul Bechtel. We love you all so much. Thank you to Noisepace.xyz, which hosts this and so many other fantastic podcasts, including many that I am affiliated with, such as The Wonder Years, which is an Animorphs podcast that I do with musician of this podcast, Seda, and editor of this podcast, Blair. You can find Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die. It's a leftism podcast that I do with a bunch of my friends, including John, present here.
Woo!
You can listen to Special Grade Snacks, which is a Jujutsu Kaisen watch-along podcast that we finished a couple of months ago. You should go listen to that and also watch Jujutsu Kaisen. It's good anime. And I believe... Oh, yeah, I'm on Twitter at Sunhatzhenya, SUNHATZHENYA. You can also find Blair, my aforementioned editor, on Twitter at Blair Kitsch, and Seda, who does the incredible intro-outro music for this podcast. They make music as people you meet outside of bars. Head to gaygothvibes.online for more of that. I believe that's everything, so until next time, I'm Sarah.
And I'm John.
And remember...
You can put a fucked up guy anywhere.
Good night, everyone.